Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
So let's start, ठीक है? सब लोग ready हो ना? Okay, ठीक है. So good evening, one and all present over here. I road tractor Vinayak Nayak, journal body member.
And I'm Rotractor Akshay Sharma, International Service Director for the year 22-23.
Welcome all the dignitaries and members for today's Y20 summit.
So now, without wasting any time, continuing with the proceedings, I would like to call Rotractor Muskan Sinha, our President, and Rotractor Dhruvi Jagani, our Sergeant at Arms, to call the meeting to order.
I, Rotractor Muskan Sinha, President of Rotary Club of TCAP, call this project to order.
So now I would like to request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय ठीक है आराम से. तो सबको पता इधर हम लोग क्यों आया. तो भी मैं एक बार इंट्रोडक्शन दे देता हूँ कि आज जो Y20 है वो क्या है एंड उसके बारे में थोड़ा इन्फो प्रोवाइड कर देता हूँ सेमिनार से पहले. सो Y20 U20 is one of the 8 official engagement groups under the G20 umbrella. The G20 rotating presidency bears the responsibility of hosting like Youth Summit, which usually take place some weeks prior to the traditional forum to know what the youths are thinking and incorporate their suggestions in their own policy and proposals. It is an attempt to create a connecting point between G20 governments and their local youth. The Y20 India Summit in 2023 would exemplify India's youth centric efforts and provide an opportunity to showcase its values and policy measures to the youth across the globe.
So now I would like to call our guest speaker, and before calling him, I would like to give a short introduction about him. So our guest speaker for today's event is Sir Sujay Chokshi, the president of the student wing of BJP Mumbai and the official coordinator for Y20 in Mumbai. He's a graduate in economics and a rank holder in the MHT law and is currently pursuing his LLB at Government Law College. He has been active in student politics since his teenage years and has worked closely. DCM Shiv Devendra Fadnavis, he has worked with him as well. And currently, he will be addressing us on the themes of 21st century India and the future of work, which are official Y20 themes. So I would like you all guys to give her a big round of applause for him.
जाग जाओ सब लोग एक बार, पता है थोड़ा लेट हो गया, ठीक है, जोश देगा, ताली बजाओ एक बार, कम ऑन।
वेरी गुड इवनिंग टू एवरीवन प्रेजेंट। यस, नहीं, मेरा केवल एक ही निवेदन आपसे है कि प्लीज़ सर बोल के मत पुकारिएगा। मैं आपसे केवल 3 4 या 5 साल बड़ा हूँ, तो बाकी हमारे मतलब आगे के आधे घंटे में जो भी चर्चा हुए उसमें सिर्फ सर बोल के मत पुकारिएगा। भाई इज़ ओके, सुजय इज़ ऑल्सो ओके, एंड फ्रेंड मित्र इज़ ऑल्सो ओके, राइट? So, first things first, I have a question for all of y'all. How many of y'all have heard about G20? You'll have heard about G20, correct? How many of y'all have heard about Y20? So, only a few of us, correct? So, before we begin on an official note, I would like to state that everything we speak about here will be purely interactive. यहाँ भाषण देने के लिए मैं नहीं आया हूँ। भाषण देने को राजनीति में बहुत सारे मंच मिलते हैं। Little bit of echo and feedback, if you could just work that out. So this is not going to be a speech. Am I audible to the last person in the last row? Great. So this is not going to be a speech. This is not going to be one of those cases where, you know, someone comes from a political background. No. Today I have come here purely as a representative of Y20 and as a young person to interact with you all. The main objective behind this is that the government today and Y20, G20 and our country is doing multiple great things. Do you all agree or not? This country has taken a different direction and a different speed of progress which has not been witnessed in history. Now, there is a bridge which needs to be made. There is a certain gap between us as young people and where the country is headed. Because the people who are in charge of making policies and the people who are in charge of administration are 2 or 3 generations elder than us. Correct? Now, if I tell you that a 60-year-old person, a 70-year-old person thinks far differently as compared to a person our age, am I correct? Right? Because हमारे मन में जो बातें चलती है, हमारा जो नज़रिया है, वो बहुत different है compared to a person 2 or 3 generations above us. I'll give you a small example. If you place a simple mobile phone in the hands of a 60 or 70-year-old person, चलो कॉल कर लेंगे, SMS कर लेंगे, this much they can do. You place the same mobile phone in the hands of a person our parents' age. WhatsApp चला लेंगे, application download कर देंगे. You place that same mobile phone in the hands of someone our age, महीने के 4 या 5 लाख का बिजनेस वो एक फ़ोन से वो करके दिखाएंगे. That is the difference between generations in our country, and that is the reason why there has to be a bridge between government and governance and young people like us today. So everything we discuss will be purely interactive in nature, and every time I ask you all for a response, I expect that you all give it wholeheartedly and without any fear and with zero hesitation, and with the knowledge that all the responses that we record here today, this is being videographed and photographed, जितने भी आप response देंगे, these will feature in the official Y20 paper policy document once India's presidency elapses. So this is not an exercise where someone comes and speaks to you and then suddenly stops and that's it. No. आज आपकी जो उम्मीद है, आपकी जो अपेक्षाएं है आपके राष्ट्र के प्रति, वो सभी को रिकॉर्ड करके एक ऑफिशियल पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट के रूप में हम सबमिट करेंगे, बिकॉज दिस is an official G20 and a Y20 event, which is why I would like to extend first and foremost my gratitude and my thank you to all the organizers from the Road Track Club and to the college for organizing such an incredible event at such a short notice and drawing such an incredible response and bringing the official G20 and Y20 banner at the doorstep of students such as all of y'all. Y'all deserve a round of applause for that. So we'll begin with a brief about what G20 and Y20 is. So G20 or group of 20 are 20 of the most powerful nations, be it economically, be it militarily, be it culturally, the most prevalent, predominant nations in the entire world. And they come together as a forum for the purpose of giving this world a better direction, for the purpose of problem solving, for the purpose of facilitating economic progress, and as a forum for dispute redressal. So the G20 forum today has been used for multiple things. I'll give you a small example. The Russia and Ukraine conflict, आप सभी ने सुना है जो युद्ध चल रहा है, right? So something like that can also be brought up at a G20 forum. And even if you, for example, as a nation, have a lot of natural resources, right? अगर मेरे पास zinc, manganese, iron ore, इसका abundance है, land का abundance है. For example, a lot of African and South American countries have an abundance of such minerals. पर investment नहीं है, technological know-how नहीं है. G20 is a forum where you can collaborate with other private sector and public sector companies from other countries of the world and be able to create something great in tandem with each other. तो भारत ने इस बार जो अध्यक्षता का रोल निभा रहा है उसका एक बहुत ही सुंदर थीम है. Can any of us tell me what the theme for G20 and Y20 is? जी, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम. इसका अर्थ क्या होता है? Exactly. The world is my family. And that is the basic crux of what G20 and Y20 is. It is a place for all countries to come together and amicably solve problems and create a better future. Now, within this, we have another vertical known as Y20 or Youth 20, or in India, we could also call it as Yuva 20, which is basically a forum within G20 for people like us, people under the age of 35, to come voice our opinions, to come learn about the direction this country is taking, and to contribute and do a little bit so that our voice is heard. Because as we've already discussed, there is a generational gap every 10 or 15 years. So it's our duty to let ourselves be heard. Am I right? Correct. So at the end of this session, we will also have an official 10 or 15 minutes where you all give policy suggestions which will be recorded and will be sent to the Y20 forum and to the Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs of India, so that say student XYZ from this college, from this Rotaract club will have made an actual difference, not just something that you have come and spoken or come and heard someone, पर आपके मन में जो विचार है उसको genuinely व्यक्त करने के बाद एक प्लेटफॉर्म दिया गया. वेरी गुड. फिजिक्स वाला, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. ओला, नॉट उबर. जीरोदा, वेरी गुड. जोहो, वेरी गुड. सो राइट. तो एनर्जी, ओयो, यस. तो रितेश अग्रवाल का ओयो है, ड्रीम 11 बाय हर्ष जैन, कामत ब्रदर्स का जीरोदा हो गया. तो ऐसे अनगिनत उदाहरण है और सक्सेस स्टोरीज हमारे सामने है. करेक्ट. So we have already departed from the time where things were just a dream or things were just a bunch of thoughts. No. Currently where we are at is that साक्षात हमारे आंखों के सामने we are seeing a startup being generated almost every couple of hours in this country and being officially recognized and registered. At the same time, we are producing the highest rate of unicorns in the entire world, faster than even first world countries. Countries which have far better development and infrastructure because of having so many more years of independence, today we have overtaken them in terms of the ideas we are producing and the valuation that those ideas are fetching from across the world. Can you tell me what a unicorn is? $1 billion valuation ke upar, correct? Can you name a few unicorns? Already I think physics wala, Oyo, all of these are, yes, all of these are unicorns, correct? So currently India is generating more unicorns than any other country in the entire world, which is incredible if you consider the fact that only few years back, we were being criticized for being backward in terms of literacy, in terms of human capital, in terms of the way we develop our human capital. But today, these same naysayers and the same people who would come and criticize our country are having to cover their ears and their heads and run away, seeing that India has become the very hotbed of innovation in the entire world. अगर एक ज़माने में इंडस वैली और हड़प्पन जैसी जगहें थी जो पूरे दुनिया में प्रसिद्ध थी, that these are the places where innovation began from, correct? In the same fashion, today, India isn't just Bangalore as an IT hub or Mumbai as a hub for human resource professionals. No, this entire country is developing as an answer to the West Silicon Valley, and that is something to be proud of for each and every one of us. Reason being, कि अगर ये गंगा हमारे सामने बह रही है तो उसमें हाथ धोना ये हमारा फ़र्ज़ बनता है. Keeping in mind, how many of you all have thought of beginning your own startups? Why did you lower your hand? डरो मत. How many of you all have thought of being founders yourselves at a very young age. Exactly. So if you take a comparison of how our country was 10 years ago and how many people wanted to be service oriented as opposed to now how many people want to run their own businesses, you will see a huge difference. That doesn't happen overnight. That happens when the government, when the country, and when there's basically a mindset shift in the way we think and in the way we act. This happens when our ecosystem changes entirely. This happens when the economy is given sufficient amount of support by policymakers. And a prime example of this is Startup India, through which more than 10,000 crore has been kept aside by the government of India to fund startups, to officially register them and to nurture them, to reduce the amount of taxes we levy on them and to give them subsidies. Another example of this is the Mudra loan. Mudra loan के बारे में आप में से किसी ने सुना है? Any of you all have you all heard about the Mudra loan? Right, few of you all have heard about it. Now, for us to be sitting here in Mumbai and have the privilege of such a fine college and such a fine Rotaract club, it might not be that difficult for us to raise capital. Agreed? Yes or no? However, for different corners of this country, raising capital, let alone starting a business, is a very difficult and distant dream. Keeping this in mind, we have a system called the Mudra loan, a vision of the Prime Minister, wherein loans up to 10 lakhs are available free of collateral. दुनिया में ऐसे कोई बैंक मिल रही है आपको जो कोलैटरल के बिना 10 लाख रुपए पे लोन दे सकती है? नहीं. But government of India is willing to stand behind its young people and say all the way from 10,000, 50,000, all the way to rupees 10 lakhs, you are free to avail a loan in a very normal and nominal interest rate without giving any collateral. I'll give you a small success story that people have achieved using these loans. So at the main junction in Thane, there was a person who was running a vada pav stall. और मतलब सालों से यही चला आ रहा था, that his parents were doing the same business. Now he thought that why not expand this and why not give it a creative twist? Correct, because no one wants to stagnate. You may take what your legacy is, but you will definitely want to grow it. He takes a Mudra loan of around 4 to 5 lakhs. He develops an app wherein if you're waiting in traffic and you say that around approximately this time I will be waiting in traffic, the vada pav wala comes and delivers steaming hot vada pav to you at that location itself while you're waiting in traffic. And today that person is doing more than 5 lakhs in revenue. And he's our age. Was that possible in the India of, say, even 10, 15 years ago? Absolutely not. That is the beauty and that is the power of Startup India, of the Mudra loan, and of effective policy making. Next, I'd like to talk to you about Digital India. Digital India के बारे में आप लोग ने सुना है? You have heard about Digital India? Can any one of you all tell me or give me a small brief about what the idea behind Digital India is? कोई तो बता सकता है. आप तो engineering students हो ना सब? Exactly. To put it simply, making things available online. Anyone else? BMAP. Correct. Anyone else? Reducing corruption by giving transparent transactions. Anyone else? Connecting people using the internet. Excellent. Anyone else? Right. So I think all of you will have a fair idea of what Digital India is. But Digital India, once upon a time, the former finance minister of the country used to say that does the end consumer in the village have access to internet? Do they have a smartphone? Will they be able to use paperless and cashless transactions? And they used to laugh. Today, a friend of mine went on vacation to Leh Ladakh, and at the highest tea stall, at an altitude of some 10,000 feet, that person has made a payment for the cup of tea he had using UPI. That is the direction that this country is taking. Can any of you all name a few applications where you can make cashless transactions? PhonePe, GPay. Yes. So, according to you all, where does India rank in terms of volume of cashless transactions? First. आपने सोचा भी होगा 10-15 साल पहले कि जब देश के अर्थ मंत्री सदन में बैठ के हंस रहे थे और बोल रहे थे कि ये असंभव है, आज वही अर्थ मंत्री को मुंह छुपा के भागना पड़ता है क्योंकि ये देश इतना आगे बढ़ गया है. That, I repeat, is the power of effective policy making and a population that is hungry. Now, when I spoke to the Rotaract Club and to the college, in consultation, we got a few tips and a few guidelines about what y'all wanted to hear about and a few themes of Y20 which were very important to y'all. So, this one theme called the future of work is very close to my heart and is going to play a huge role in defining where not just our country but the entire world goes in the next 100 years. Have you all heard of this term, future of work? Okay, have you all heard of the Industrial Revolution which took place in Britain years ago? Right? So, in the Industrial Revolution, the rate of production increased so much that the need for laborers, that the need for raw material also increased with it in tandem. Correct? But now we're seeing a different kind of industrial revolution known as the fourth industrial revolution. So, agar Britain mein tab laborers used to move from rural areas to urban areas so that they could meet the demand gap, what's happening today is entirely different. That because of the way technology has changed, the fourth industrial revolution is posing a new problem. It's making people obsolete. Unless you are skilled enough, it's frightening in a way, but unless you are skilled enough, it's making you obsolete, it's making you redundant, and it's telling you to focus on a very specific skill set to become employable, which means that cybernetics, robotics, and artificial intelligence has evolved so much and at such a rapid pace, it's replacing people like you and me. So, अगर आज हम लोग को लग रहा है कि we have job security, we have an employment guarantee, nothing is going to happen to us, we will always be happy with a fixed paycheck and a rising income, not just today, 10 years down the line, 32% of the international workforce is at danger of losing their jobs. 32%, almost 3 out of every 10 people is going to be at a risk of losing their jobs unless they super specialize or they super generalize. Super specialization is when you're so good at doing one thing that no one else can enter that core competency of yours. And super generalization is when you're so good at doing so many different things that it is very difficult for your employer to let go of you. So that is the future of work. When I put it in a crux and in a nutshell, it means that it is necessary for us to pursue, and for y'all especially, do you all know what STEM degrees are? STEM? Right? Science, Technology, Engineering and Med. Right? तो आप लोग को उतनी चिंता करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. शायद जब ये सेमिनार कॉमर्स के स्टूडेंट्स के साथ होगा तो बैक रो में कोई काँप रहा होगा कि नौकरी चली जाएगी. बट अच्छा इतनी राइवलरी है कि आप लोग हंसने लगे. Fair enough. But no, that there is a demand for people in STEM courses, which is why even when you go abroad, to get a visa is much easier for the person to sponsor you if you are from an engineering or math or a technology background. Another question with the future of work is that how many of you all have heard of a black swan event? One person's heard of a black swan event. Anyone else has heard of a black swan event? So black swan event was a term coined by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, who is a thinker and a best-selling author, who said that sometimes there is a sequence of events or a single event that happens which disrupts the entire world, the way the whole world functions, and has severe consequences on everything. And when we look at it in hindsight, it seems obvious. But it is impossible to predict such an event. Now that I've given you the definition, can you all give me an example of such an event? COVID. Perfect. Right? So this person's entire theory came up to fore and in public limelight because of COVID-19, saying that this is a perfect black swan event. Simple question, how has COVID-19 changed the way we work? Everything's online. Couple of other points. Healthcare industry revolutionized. ये फोटो लेते लेते साइड पे हमें बता रहे हैं आपके मित्र. Anyone else? How has COVID changed the way you all work? I'm sure some of you all must be interning, some must be working. How has COVID changed the way we work? WFH, 3 letters. Work from home, correct? Warehousing, for example, has increased so much that there aren't enough laborers to fill into warehouses. Why? Because e-commerce has increased so much. E-commerce has grown more than 2 to 5 times. Different e-commerce platforms and agencies have grown more than 200 to 500% का annual growth rate है उनका. Right? That kind of growth rate you associate with people who do scams. But that is how a black swan event changes the entire way the world works. So that plays a very important role in determining the future of work and where we are going as a society and where we're going as a workforce. That now, because of work from home, there have been huge question marks which are raised. So people now come and ask their reporting manager, who then in turn asks the middle management, who then asks the upper management, who then asks the CEO, who then asks the board of directors, that we are doing perfectly fine without employees even coming to work. They're doing the exact same amount of work. Some are even faring better. Why? Because there is more focus on their welfare, there's more focus on their well-being, and we're also saving crazy amounts of money, tremendous amounts of money in our operating expenses and our capital expenses by not renting huge workspaces. Do you know today that a vast majority of even Zerodha's employees are working from home? Their balance sheets suggest that they've done more than 2,000 crores of pure profit in the last financial year. So that's changing the very landscape of how people work and how people think in terms of the employer and the employee and in terms of employability. Now, the next question is a little philosophical. In terms of future of work, what is the whole point of work? If I ask you as a young person, what is the entire point of work? Why do people work? Why do companies exist? Why do they grow? Why are they incorporated? If you could just boil it down into 4 or 5 goals, what is it? जोर से बोलिए. For a living. How do you earn a living? नहीं, वो अंडा और चिकन वाला आर्ग्यूमेंट हो गया. By having money. Exactly. So would you agree that if you look at it without giving it much thought, the whole point of work is money? Yes or no? Okay. आप में से कितने लोग ने गीता पढ़ी है? Right. So the Gita has a lot of verses about the nature of karma, right? Or the nature of work. वहाँ ऐसे कुछ लिखा है that the backbone of work is money? नहीं. वहाँ उसका एग्जिट विपरीत लिखा है कि जो फल अपेक्षा है और the expectation of reward is not why a person works. Funnily enough, that is the future we are heading towards. In the sense that yes, money might be the bottom line for a person doing work, but it's not just money. The reason that people are working today is to add value to their lives. There are multiple people in first world countries who can easily retire after the age of 45 or 50 but still continue working till 75 or 80. Why? To create value, to create jobs, to create employability, and to add something to the world that is larger than oneself. That is the future of work. Working simply for the sake of money, working simply for the sake of the rupee or the dollar, that is not a future that exists anymore. People are adding more tangible things and more nuances to why they work. Because अगर हमने वो argument एक बार ले लिया side पे that people work only for money, why would NGOs exist? There would be no NGOs. Correct? Why do non-governmental organizations exist? Why does a Mother Teresa exist? Why does a Nelson Mandela exist? Why did a Gandhi ji exist? अगर कर्म केवल अर्थ के लिए है, as in just for the sake of money, then that entire argument collapses. Which is why the future of work is far more aligned to ancient Indian principles which have always been with us for years and years on end. So it's our necessity and our prerogative to adapt to this before the world adapts to it. Correct? क्योंकि इसके बारे में तो हमें सदियों पहले ये संदेश दिया गया था that फल, be it in the form of money, in the form of prestige, in the form of name, is not the only reason a person works. Person works to be a part of something bigger and larger than themselves and their organization. Am I right? Correct. How many of y'all believe that mental health should be an integral part of an employee's relation with his organization? Right? Correct? So I think that's a unanimous thing. मतलब जो 7-8 लोगों ने हाथ ऊपर नहीं किए उनको बाद में मिलना पड़ेगा, पूछना पड़ेगा कि आप 20 घंटे रोज काम करके खुश कैसे हो, right? So it's very integral now in every employer and employees agreement, especially for the top companies, that mental health is given a very key role, the employee's mental health. वो ज़माना गया where you tell a person that you have to work for these many hours under these conditions. That entire system is gone. And even where it still exists, it's being phased out. Because who would like to work in a system like that? The future of work, the theme that we've picked for today, has a very key focus on mental health. Because if you look at certain fields, for example, engineers, for example, lawyers, for example, the medical field, the rate at which students were giving up their own lives was becoming incredibly disturbing. Right? Nothing is more valuable than that. No amount of paycheck, no amount of name, no job at any MNC is more valuable than that. Which is why mental health became such a key factor in the future of work, that now wherever we work in the future, it is absolutely necessary. And even if the employer is not guaranteeing certain mental health provisions, it is our right to raise our voice and say that as an employee, I am not going to open myself up to depression or to anxiety or to psychological and nervous breakdowns simply because your workload is this much. That is the future of work. It doesn't include just hard work, of course it does, but at the same time, it has a human angle to it. Because if you say human capital, your employees are your company's human capital, then what about the humanity in the human capital? That is a very key element which must be examined in the entire future of work landscape. So I think I have given you all a good gist about what the future of work is, about what this country is doing, about where we are going, and where we have reached already. Now I open the floor to each one of you all. आप केवल वहाँ खड़े रहकर नहीं बोलेंगे, आप यहाँ स्टेज पर हमारे साथ आकर आपके विचार व्यक्त करेंगे. Two things you all will share. One is a positive thing, that this is something I really admire and appreciate that the country has done and is continuing to do. And the second is what you should make as a policy suggestion to the country at this forum, that this is what we think our country and our policy makers need to implement at the earliest. So I now officially open the floor to all of you students and invite you to make official suggestions that will most certainly be heard at the very highest of platforms and forums. पहले कौन जाएगा? Take a minute, think. Discuss amongst yourselves. Please, ma'am.
I am Asta, and I don't obviously belong to this college, but I work in the healthcare community, and I have been working with a government hospital since last 2.5 years. I work on a contractual basis, okay, and there is zero holiday policy for us.
Okay.
On a very personal level.
So employee welfare.
Exactly. And then when it comes to leaves, taking leaves, there is zero support from the HOD as
Okay.
well. You are a medical professional, you are giving your 100%.
Right.
there. And then when it comes to taking a off even for your mental health and your well-being, it's not heard. I don't feel it is right anywhere on this platform.
Right.
Because even we are young people who are growing and want to serve the society somewhere down the line. But then when it comes to, okay, what are we getting back? There is zero, literally zero that comes back. So that is a point that actually when you go around in other countries or abroad, people are wanting to go there because there are specific things that they are treated well, at least from India, rather than all the well-being, just like you mentioned. So which is more important thing. And after 2.5 years of working with them, even after this, there is no progress in wherever you are. It's just a full stop. You're
Right.
not going ahead anywhere.
Certainly, ma'am. We will definitely record that. पूरे सेमिनार हॉल में एक ही व्यक्ति है. माइक लीजिए.
तो सबसे पहले मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि जो कोविड को जिस तरह से हम लोग की कंट्री ने हैंडल किया है वो लिटरली मतलब उसको कूडोस है। अगर हम लोग देखने जाएंगे कोविड की जब वैक्सीन्स थी सबसे ज़्यादा फास्टेस्ट डेवलप करने वाली कंट्री हम लोग की कंट्री ही थी। हम लोग की कंट्री ने दूसरी कंट्रीज़ की तरह एम्बार्गो नहीं लगाया जैसे यूएस ने किया था कि ना सारे के सारे जितने भी ना एसेंशियल एलिमेंट्स लगते हैं जो वैक्सीन्स बनाने में उसके ऊपर एम्बार्गो लगाया। हम लोग ने खुद के कंट्री को वैक्सीनेट करने के साथ साथ जो दूसरी कंट्रीज़ है जिससे हम लोग को रिटर्न में कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला है हम लोग ने उनसे भी उनकी भी हेल्प की। दूसरा अगर हम लोग देखने जाएंगे तो है ना जो 10 ईयर्स या फिर जो एक डिकेड में जो डिफरेंस हम लोग को देखने मिलता है वो डिफेंस के ऊपर देखने मिलता है। अभी के टाइम पे जो हम लोग का ग्लोबल स्टांस है एज़ कम्पेयर टू एनी अदर कंट्रीज़ इतना फास्ट किसी ने भी शायद से डेवलप किया रहेगा 10 ईयर्स में जितना हम लोग ने किया है। अगर हम लोग पॉजिटिव अगर सिर्फ सोचते हैं तो अच्छा हम लोग का मोरल बूस्ट होता है बट एट द सेम टाइम हम लोग को है ना हम लोग के फ्लॉज के ऊपर भी ध्यान देना चाहिए। इसीलिए हम मतलब अभी एक चीज़ कोट करना चाहूँगा। अभी है ना जस्ट एक हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर में एक आया था आर्टिकल जिसके ऊपर जुडिशियल सिस्टम की बात हो रही थी। ये नहीं बोल रहे हैं कि जुडिशियल सिस्टम हम लोग के इंडिया का करप्ट है और है ना किसी और के साथ में कंपैरिजन भी मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ बट यहाँ पर ये इंपॉर्टेंट बात है कि हम लोग का जुडिशियल सिस्टम बहुत ज़्यादा फ्लॉ से भरा हुआ है। फॉर एग्जांपल केरला के अंदर एक छोटी बच्ची का रेप हो गया था और 10 साल के बाद में 2009 का वो केस था और 2019 में उस कन्विक्ट को छोड़ दिया क्योंकि 10 ईयर्स तक कोई भी प्रूफ नहीं कलेक्ट हुआ था। हम लोग के कंट्री के अंदर जो जुडिशियल सिस्टम है उसके अंदर एक रिपोर्ट पब्लिश हुई थी जिसके ऊपर 714 जजेस अभी हैं और 324 वैकेंसीज़ हैं। अगर हम लोग की जो कंट्री है अगर वो सारे के सारे ना जजेस अपनी है ना पूरे पेस पर भी काम करे तो भी पूरे के पूरे कंट्री में जितने केसेस एक्टिव हैं उनको कंप्लीट करने में 324 ईयर्स लगेंगे। सो ये एक पॉइंट है जो हम लोग को ऐड करना चाहिए। हम लोग की जुडिशियल सिस्टम को पावरफुल बनाना चाहिए क्योंकि अगर जुडिशियल सिस्टम के ऊपर अगर किसी का ट्रस्ट नहीं रहता है सो उस टाइम पे रायट्स होते हैं। उस टाइम पे जो है ना लखनऊ के अंदर जो केस हुआ जिसके अंदर हम लोग के आधे जो था उसके ऊपर जो अटैक हुआ वो भी
किलिंग होता है
वो विजिलेंटिज्म बढ़ता है इसके थ्रू। और दूसरा पॉइंट ऐड करना चाहूँगा कि हम लोग को ईज़ ऑफ बिजनेस बढ़ाना है अपने इंडिया में। ईज़ ऑफ बिजनेस क्यों? क्योंकि हम लोग के बाहर जो कंट्रीज़ हैं वो भी यहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट करने से डरती है। जैसे फॉक्सकॉन ने वेदांता के ऊपर भरोसा करके इन्वेस्ट किया है। एलोन मस्क भी यहाँ पे फैक्ट्रीज नहीं डाल रहे या फिर वो तो बहुत ज़्यादा रेयर बात हो गई। यहाँ तक कि जो इंडिया के स्टार्टअप्स हैं वो भी अपने आप को बाहर रजिस्टर करते हैं। बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल फ्लिपकार्ट, उसने अपने आप को सिंगापुर में रजिस्टर किया है। अभी सब लोग बता रहे थे कि ना इंडिया के ना $1 बिलियन स्टार्टअप्स है बट रजिस्टर्ड बाहर है ना। सो हम लोग को अपने जो ना टैक्स है जो ईज़ ऑफ बिजनेस है उसको बढ़ाना चाहिए ताकि ना जितना हो सके उतना बेटर हम लोग की कंट्री को क्रेडिट मिले। क्योंकि सिंगापुर आज भी ना फ्लिपकार्ट को अपना क्लेम करता है क्योंकि रजिस्टर्ड वहाँ है। दुबई में भी बहुत सारी कंट्रीज जो हम लोग के बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप्स है जो वहाँ पे रजिस्टर्ड है। सो 2 पॉइंट है जो मेरे को लगता है ना हम लोग को ऐड करना चाहिए। एक है जुडिशियरी और दूसरा है ईज़ ऑफ बिजनेस।
Mike.
Hello everyone, myself Rotaractor Gaurav Bavdane. So my a small suggestion will be like just अभी हम लोग ने ये इनिशिएटिव है Y20 का एंड वी आर यूजिंग आवर ओन टैगलाइन जो हम लोग के स्क्रिप्चर्स या फिर जिसमें से जो एंशंट है तो वैसे भी कॉलेज लाइफ में भी बहुत सारी ऐसे एज अ स्टूडेंट भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें जैसे आपने बात किया कि मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में। सो इफ़ यू टेक द एग्जांपल ऑफ भगवत गीता ओनली एज यू सेड उसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसे जो स्पेसिफिकली स्टूडेंट्स के ऊपर हाईलाइट करती है कि इन स्टूडेंट लाइफ एक प्रैक्टिस करना चाहिए, सेकंड इज़ वैराग्य। 2 चीज़ों पे फोकस करना चाहिए ताकि स्टूडेंट लाइफ प्रॉपर मेंटेन रहे। बट द थिंग्स इज वी for earning bread and butter we have different courses, we have to follow that exactly. बट ऐसा कुछ सर्कुलर या फिर ऐसा कुछ कोर्स स्पेसिफिकली जो हमको हमारे जो स्क्रिप्चर्स हो गए या फिर उपनिषद हो गए जो हमने थोड़े से साइडलाइन कर दिए उस पर अगर फोकस किए तो आई थिंक वी शुड लाइक वी विल स्टिक टू आवर रूट्स एंड अगेन अपना एम जो होगा इनोवेशन वो तो रहेगा ही वैसा।
थैंक यू।
गुड इवनिंग सर। सो आपने बोला कि STEM is growing a lot. Startups are taking a boost in our country. The major issue is that we have come across a news. The people are leaving the citizenship of India. People are aiming to go abroad, to shift abroad and settle there. So I think this is a very major flaw that people are leaving their own country just to go and settle abroad. So I think this is a very major flaw that people are leaving their citizenship, and this increase has been increasing day by day. The increase seen before and now has a major change. द इंक्रीज इज इंक्रीजिंग, लाइक लोग बढ़ रहे हैं, बाहर जा ही रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं कि कम हो रहे हैं। तो ग्रोथ हो रहा है, लेकिन सर अपने लोग ही नहीं फायदा उठा रहे हैं, बाहर चले जा रहे हैं, तो इस ग्रोथ का क्या फायदा?
Agreed.
सर थैंक यू फॉर द सेशन फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल। आपने कहा था कुछ अच्छी चीज़ बतानी है ना पहले। जो सारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बिल्ड हो रहा है एंड जो बिज़नेस को बूस्ट करने के लिए चीज़ें पॉलिसीज़ लाई जा रही है वो काफ़ी अच्छी है एंड आई रिस्पेक्ट इट। बट सर एक चीज़ का बहुत ज़्यादा नेगेटिव थिंग जो है वो जो काफ़ी लोगों को पर्सनली बहुत अफेक्ट करता है एंड करना भी चाहिए, इज़ कि पॉलिटिकल एजेंडा प्रमोट करने के लिए जो वो एक रिलीजियस हेट का प्रोपेगेंडा फैलता जा रहा है ना, लोगों को रियलाइज़ नहीं हो रहा है। दे थिंक कि हाँ यार सही तो है, सही तो है, एंड उसके अगेंस्ट कोई एक्शन नहीं हो रहा है सर। तो आई थिंक दैट इज़ वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट इश्यूज़, क्योंकि यूनिटी नहीं आ पा रही है सर। तो कहाँ ग्रोथ होगा, मतलब एक पॉइंट पे जाके स्टैगनेंट ही हो जाएंगे। तो सर दैट इज़ वन थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू एड्रेस। थैंक यू।
Hi, I first of all, the one positive thing about what India is introducing right now, I'd like to say that I like the way they are promoting Ayurveda these days. That they are saying that in the first year of medical students, that they have to have some knowledge of Ayurveda, and I believe that is important is because there are recent cases, some studies that some inflammatory anti-inflammatory medicines are started to get ineffective on humans because they are getting too immune to it. So I believe Ayurveda is going to be the solution to this. And the other thing, that the negative thing you can say, is that I believe that the education system of India is quite backwards. I wouldn't say it is lagging, or I would say that the entire point is becoming too outdated. The thing is, they were 2 years ago, they introduced a lot of ideas, a lot of plans that they were going to do, like mix up curriculums, give a student more flexibility in choosing their own interest. But it has been 2-3 years now, and there is absolutely no updates on it. And I believe that is also one of the drawbacks, that India is pretty slow on these things. But other than that, I believe that one student has like every individual has more than one interest, right? You cannot just say that, okay, I'm good at this one thing only. Yes, so like in foreign countries, you get more flexibility on this, that okay, music is my major, at the same time science is also my minor. That way, I believe that this should also be introduced in the curriculum in India. Thank you.
Thank you. So, before we take any new suggestions, we would also want to address what your classmates have already said. So take for example what ma'am said right now, right? So that's already been introduced in the new education policy, जो NEP है. Now it's in the implementation phase. So that's a brilliant thing, that in certain education systems you have the liberty to choose what you want to study without being restricted to study other things. So we are introducing that whole stream system is now being done away with. Another suggestion was about ease of doing business. So ease of doing business rankings, the official bipartisan, non-partisan rankings are showing that India has jumped multiple places in the last years and is continuing to do so. Another problem you all suggested was that of the brain drain. So now we are giving all facilities possible to people in terms of subsidies, in terms of tax rebates, in terms of hubs and technological hubs where you can come and grow your company. So multiple things are being provided. What we are suffering from, in a sense, is an information gap. कि जितनी चीज़ें हो रही है, उसकी जानकारी हमें प्राप्त नहीं हो रही है. So all have been valid suggestions. I think even someone said about going back to ancient roots. So I think the Gita has already been introduced in the syllabus in Gujarat. They've already started introducing that in other different parts of the country also. So all the concerns we have are being worked on. What it needs is exactly what you all have done today. To come and let yourselves be heard. क्योंकि ये सेशन हमने जेनरेशनल गैप के साथ शुरू किया था, राइट? पॉलिसी मेकर ऐसे नहीं सोच सकते. Not because they're not learned. They have 2 and 3 PhDs, all graduated from Ivy Leagues, IAS officers. Why? because they're 30 and 40 years elder than us, and you cannot change the way a certain generation thinks as opposed to another. Which is why it's a seminar, without referring to my notes or without referring to anything, I also started exactly at the place where y'all are at. If y'all want to speak in public, y'all want to develop a personality that commands the respect of others, y'all have to be the person in your class that gets up and lets themselves be known. That is the step one of anything you want to do in your public life. Be it any type of public figure you want to be it political, be it activism, be it anything else. But that is the step one. So I would thank all of y'all for doing that. We will take 2 more suggestions. We'll invite 2 more people. Haji, aaiye na, please. You can go next, sir.
हेलो, तो आई एम शिवांश त्रिपाठी फ्रॉम एमएमई एंड जैसा आपने बोला कि किसी एक इंडस्ट्री के बारे में बात कर सकते हैं, तो मैं गेमिंग इंडस्ट्री के बारे में स्पेसिफिकली बात करूँगा. सो गेमिंग एज अ इंडस्ट्री इस वक्त इतनी ग्रो हो चुकी है कि वो म्यूज़िक प्लस मूवी इंडस्ट्री कंबाइंड ज़्यादा प्रॉफिटेबल है. एंड इंडिया आज से 1 साल पहले तक मोस्ट ऑफ द गेम्स में बहुत ऊपर रैंक करता था. बट पॉजिटिव्स थे इससे. जो पॉजिटिव्स आपने बोले वो ये थे कि डिजिटल इंडिया फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, देन जियो, जिसकी वजह से बहुत ज़्यादा बूस्ट मिल गया था कम्युनिटी को. एंड ऑल्सो द ईज लाइक हैकाथॉन करके एक बहुत बड़ा इवेंट हुआ था गेमर्स के लिए. उसमें हर एक गेम अलाउड थे, ये सब था. बट इसमें जो नेगेटिव्स हुए हैं इन द पास्ट फ्यू टाइम्स, लाइक गेम बैन्स, जो कि मैं समझ सकता हूँ कि वो हैं. बट इसमें एक और बड़ा नेगेटिव ये है कि इंडिया में गेमिंग को और गैम्बलिंग को, ये बहुत एक बड़ा नेगेटिव है. आपने बोला था कि मेरा जो मैसेज है वो यूथ मिनिस्टर जा सकता है. सो इसीलिए कि इंडिया में गेमिंग को और गैम्बलिंग को एक ही इंडस्ट्री में कंसीडर किया जाता है, क्योंकि गेमिंग एक स्किल बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री है और गैम्बलिंग एक लक बेस्ड है. पर यहाँ पे अगर कोई गेमर को मान लो 50 या 60 लाख का प्राइस पूल मिला, सो 45% वो गवर्नमेंट को चले जाता है, जस्ट बिकॉज वो दोनों इंडस्ट्री को सेम काउंट करती है. तो अगर ये डिफ्रेंशिएशन हो जाए और एक अलग बॉडी बन जाए फॉर गेमिंग, इट वुड बी वेरी नाइस. थैंक यू.
थैंक यू. उनका लास्ट, हम बाद में बैठते हैं.
हेलो एवरीवन, माई सेल्फ प्रफुल्ल फ्रॉम एमएमई. सर, जैसा कि मेरे प्यारे दोस्त ने कहा कि श्रीमद् भागवत गीता को लाना चाहिए, तो नॉट ओनली गीता, हमारे वेदास को भी कहीं ना कहीं एजुकेशन सिस्टम में लाना चाहिए. क्योंकि एक बहुत पुरानी किताब मुझे मिल गई, बहुत मतलब कोइंसिडेंस से. उस बुक का नाम था विमानिका शास्त्र, जिसमें एयरक्राफ्ट बनाना सिखाया गया था. और सर, ये भी एक बात है कि मतलब जैसे राइट ब्रदर्स ने एयरक्राफ्ट बनाया था, फर्स्ट एयरक्राफ्ट. तो कहीं ना कहीं एक न्यूज़ या फिर पुरानी न्यूज़ में या फिर पुरानी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में लिखा जाता है कि राइट ब्रदर से भी पहले कोई थे इंडियन जिन्होंने एयरक्राफ्ट बनाया था. हर नेम इज बापूजी तलपड़े. ठीक है,
पिक्चर भी आई थी ना इस विषय पे.
और उन्होंने बनाया था विमानिका शास्त्र से. ऐसे करके हमारे पास कितने ना जाने कितने शास्त्र है, कितने वेदास है, ये सारे भी हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में इंक्लूड करने चाहिए. और दूसरी बात है कि हमारा यूथ डिस्ट्रैक्ट है और इसे डिस्ट्रैक्ट किया जा रहा है. जैसे कि अगर मैं कहूँ कि अच्छा मेरे को एक बात बताना, लॉकडाउन में कितने लोग ने कम से कम 5 घंटे पबजी तो खेला ही है. अच्छा,
शायद केवल आपने,
मैंने तो खेला है.
आधे आपने कितना समय बताया था, कितने घंटे?
आराम से 5 घंटे.
आधे घंटे तो शुरू कीजिए ना. किसने आधे घंटे खेला है?
अच्छा, कितने लोग ने लॉकडाउन में पढ़ा है? अच्छा, कितना प्यारा झूठ था ये.
नहीं, बट डेफिनेटली आपके सजेशंस बहुत ही मान रखते हैं और दे विल डेफिनेटली बी नोटेड.
और सर, एक और चीज़ था कि जैसे इंडिया में 500 बैंड हो गए, यूथ को डिस्ट्रैक्ट।
अब ये विषय मत, दिस इज नॉट द फोरम फॉर दैट,
लेकिन ये पॉइंट था।
दिस इज नॉट द फोरम फॉर दैट सर, सॉरी।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू। नो प्रॉब्लम, प्लीज। Hey, we'll conclude. We'll conclude. ये हम लिख सकता हूँ मार्कर से? Sir, any place? Is there's no place there? Okay, no problem. No issues. All right, last 2 to 5 minutes of our session. And before we conclude, I would just like to share a few details if you want to get in touch. How many of you all use Twitter actively? Or at least check or scroll through Twitter? Right. So you can just open your Twitter account. You can put my details in. It's at Choksey, CHOKSEY, SUJAY, at Choksey Sujay. So you can follow me there. You want to get in touch, you want to do Y20 related activities, you want to do student welfare and politics related activities, you're more than welcome. We openly entertain and talk to and indulge all our students. So it's an open forum, you can get in touch with us there. I would also urge you all, जो Y20 India का पेज है ट्विटर पे, इंस्टाग्राम पे, उसको भी फॉलो कीजिएगा. This event which we had here today, in the next 2 or 3 days, it will feature on the Y20 India page and you all can see all of yourselves on it. I just request someone if I can borrow a cell phone. किसी का अगर फोन में तो मेरा ही दे दीजिए. ठीक है. So we'll do one small exercise. All right. So I will just say Y and you all will say 20. Right? Y? 20. Great. So I'll put it on front camera. नहीं, सुनिए, भारतीय संस्कृति की ये एक खासियत है कि धन्यवाद दिए बिना आप हट नहीं सकते. तो लास्टली एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली, आई वुड लाइक टू फ्रॉम द बॉटम ऑफ माई हार्ट एंड फ्रॉम ऑन द बिहाफ ऑफ Y20 thank the entire management, the teachers, the professors, the coordinators and the organizers at Thakur College. And I would also like to give a special shout out to the Rotaract Club, which has painstakingly organized such a wonderful event. And you all can go home and say that we have become official hosts and officially partnered a G20 and Y20 event at such a young age, which is a huge thing. And again, I would like to congratulate you all for the same. Just as a last question, did you all like today's session? Yes. You all liked it? Yes. Did I bore you all? No. ठीक है. जैसे आपके दोस्त ने बताया, आप झूठ एकदम प्यारे तरीके से बोलते हैं. ठीक है. So with all right. So with that, I would like to officially conclude from my end the session, and I would now like to pass on the mic and the dais to the members of the Rotaract Club and of the college to conclude the proceedings. Thank you.
So, thanks, sir. So, thanks, sir, for your valuable words.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call our faculty in charge, Ms. Sonali ma'am, to felicitate our speaker.
मुस्कान को बोला.
Yeah.
DRR भी मुस्कान को बोला.
Now I would like to call our President Rotractor Muskan Sinha to felicitate our DRR elect Rotractor Asta Parekh.
हाँ मेरा यार. So now we would like to call Rotractor Mitali to felicitate our ZRR, Rotractor Yash Savla and Rotractor Anurag Mishra. Please एक बार ताली हो जाए, come on. अभी है ना.
Now I would like to call our Secretary Rotractor Nipesh Dubey to felicitate our faculty in charge, Miss Sonali Singh ma'am.
ठीक है अभी सब शांत हो जाओ, कुछ स्पेशल अनाउंसमेंट है. ओके, सो द सरप्राइज दैट वी वांटेड टू गिव यू ऑल.
Sure.
वो तो हाँ मतलब ठीक है, उस पर भी कुछ बोलूँगा नहीं अभी. तो आई वुड लाइक टू कॉल अपॉन मिताली फॉर दैट स्पेशल अनाउंसमेंट. ताली हो जाए, कम ऑन.
Okay, so now we would like to make a core announcement for the core reveal of core team reveal of 2023-24. I would like to announce our president-elect 22-23 and the president for the year 23-24, Rotractor Amar Singh. He will further announce his core team.
So good evening everyone. Now I'll be announcing the core for the year 2023 and 24 for Rotrac Club of TCET. Myself, Rotractor Amar Singh, President of Rotrac Club of TCET. The next we have in the core is our immediate past president, Rotractor Muskan Sinha. Secretary of Rotrac Club of TCET, Rotractor Sumit Sharma. Now we have Vice President for Main Avenues, Rotractor Akshay Sharma. Vice President for Support Functions, Rotractor Shah Alam Khan. Next slide. Sergeant at Arms for the year 2023-24, Rotractor Sejal Dubey. Human Resources Development Officer, Rotractor Arudra Sahib. The Chairperson Finance for the year 2023-24, Rotractor Isha Mehra. Now announcing our Chairperson Task Force for the year 2023-24, Rotractor Vinayak Nayak.
I would like to call upon our DRR elect for one last photograph.
So, this was your chota sa acha sa surprise. Now, I would like to call upon Mitali for Rotractor Mitali for vote of thanks.
Okay, so a very good evening to everyone present here. I'm Rotractor Mitali Mange, the Vice President of the Rotrac Club of TCET, and it is an honor to propose a vote of thanks to recognize the contributions of all those who worked hard to make this event a huge success. I would like to express our gratitude to our speaker, Mr. Sujay Choksi sir. The topics you covered in the session were very informative and we enjoyed it a lot. We enjoyed the session a lot. It is an honor to have had you as our guest speaker for today. I would also like to thank the DRR elect, Rotractor Asta Parekh, and our ZRRs, Rotractor Yash Savla and Rotractor Anurag Mishra, for taking out the time and gracing us with their presence. I would also like to thank our OC team, we were lucky to have a group of very involved and committed club members working to make sure nothing went wrong, and that the event was a grand success. And lastly, I would like to thank all the attendees for being so patient and so interactive throughout the session. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to call our team secretariat to give us the secretariat announcement for the event.
Okay, so hello everyone, myself Rotractor Nipesh Dubey. I'm the club secretary of Rc-Tcet, along with my joint secretary.
Rotractor Vaibhav Singh.
Hereby give the secretary announcement. Total number of core members 8, BODs 18, DCMs 3, total number of general body members 282, total number of guests 3, making a grand total of 314. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to call upon the podium our President Rotractor Muskan Sinha and our Sergeant at Arms Rotractor Dhruvi Jagani to adjourn the meeting.
एक मिनट सब लोग शांत हो जाओ. Thanks everyone for coming. Okay. अच्छा लगा. FE भी आया पहली बार. So thank you everyone. Yeah.
Guys, please escort sequentially. Our members will help you to escort out. The first row. Everyone.